Hearing is expected to begin today into allegations of corruption against some judges of the Superior and Inferior Courts, as well as some staff of the Judicial Service named in an investigative documentary by Anas Aremeyaw Anas.
22 circuit court judges have been suspended as a result of the investigative expose, and 12 high court judges are being investigated. The documentary by Anas, though yet to be released, appears to confirm the long-held view of many about perceived corruption in the judiciary. Joy News editor Israel Lai spoke with legal practitioner Ace Ankuma, who is one of the few people who know probably more than anyone else apart from Anas himself.
The fact of corruption is not a surprise. The surprise would have been if there was no corruption at all in the judiciary, because the judiciary constitutes a subset of society, and the Ghanaian society is corrupt. We are set up to fail in the fight against corruption. The systems are so choked and clogged that you need to pay money to jump a line. Whether you are getting your documents from court, whether the police arrest you for speeding or any traffic offense, if you choose to go through the judicial process, then you're probably crazy, because you'd go to court 6, 7, 8 times only to plead guilty and be fined 100 cedis. When if you found 10 cedis for the policeman, you'd be home free. And so the system is set up for us to be corrupt. And so it is no surprise that judges are corrupt. And it is no surprise that it has taken years to even find cogent evidence, because corruption is between a payer and a receiver. I, the payer, am as guilty as the receiver. Why would I go to the police? I even know of instances where the police staged a sting operation and still couldn't find anybody. But the surprise in this is that this gentleman was able to get that number of judges, almost 10% of the judges of the lower courts, high court and below, on camera, in their offices, in their homes, by the street side, parking lots of malls, receiving money. That is a surprising bit of it. 10%, cleared almost 10% of all the judges from high court and below. That's a massive sample size, and it tells us that this problem is deep, and we need to do something about the system. If we don't fix the system, this is going to happen. This is going to continue.
It promises to be interesting, exciting, maybe sad. Well, the National Development Planning Commission has hailed the public response in the Ashanti region to its first consultative forum towards the development of a 40-year development plan for Ghana.
Addressing a news conference in Accra on Wednesday, the Director General of the Commission, Dr. Nimoy Thompson, said public participation in the forum in Kumasi was overwhelming.
The process so far has been overwhelming positive public response. Even among those who are critical of the process, they've indicated their desire for a long-term plan, but they've also called for an inclusive and responsive process. I have to say that I'm very, and I speak for my colleagues here and indeed the Commission as a whole, with this overwhelming response from Ghanaians is actually quite sobering. We didn't quite expect that. We knew that there was going to be some response, but this has been simply beyond our wildest imagination, both from Ghanaians at home and Ghanaians abroad. We started off with an initial budget of around 10 million. We expect that we'll probably have to go up because, as I said, that budget, for example, was based on 10 regional consultations. Now we'll have to do 216 district consultations. That obviously will require or imply an increase in cost. We also have to expand our communication strategy and the content. That will imply an increase in cost. But the increase in cost shouldn't be our worry. All projects often have a cost escalating for one reason or another. We should focus rather on the efficiency of the process and ultimately the value of the process. No amount of money is too high to pay for building a prosperous and happy future for us. So we shouldn't be so obsessed. Of course, we should make sure that whatever money we are given is spent efficiently and spent well.
And already the NDPC team has just moved to Tamale in the Northern region for the next consultative forum on the proposed 40-year development plan.
The United Nations has recommended that Ghana intensifies its efforts towards access to sanitation under the Sustainable Development Goals agenda.
The UN Resident Coordinator for Ghana, Christine Evans-Clark, in an interview with Joy News said, though the country has made some strides in areas such as reducing maternal mortality, much more needs to be done regarding areas like sanitation. She spoke to Emefa Ewenam at Tiamwa Eli on the sidelines of the Media Forum on Sustainable Development Goals and the Post-2015 Development Agenda in Ghana.
The Sustainable Development Goals focus on 17 areas covering 4 main issues. These include social, cultural, economic, natural resources, and institutional issues. The new development agenda highlights poverty reduction as the overarching goal for the next 15 years. At a forum intended to encourage the media to help ensure effective implementation of these 17 goals, the UN Resident Coordinator for Ghana, Christine Evans-Clark, said despite strides made in reducing maternal mortality rates, Ghana has to do more in its efforts towards access to sanitation.
I think that where Ghana has identified that it has not yet achieved what it wanted to achieve is in the areas of maternal health. It has cut the number of women who die in childbirth by a great deal. It has been a huge success, but there is more to be accomplished. And in the area of sanitation, access to good sanitation is not yet where Ghana wants to be. And I think this is a new opportunity to recommit to goals and to learn from what has gone well and from what things have fallen short.
Chairperson for the National Technical Steering Committee of the SDGs and Post-2015 Development Agenda process in Ghana, Mrs. Christine Asari, explains what the process entails.
What we are seeking to do is to make sure that all socio-cultural issues relating to our cultural practices that we want to use as a society, social issues, issues on children, how do we make sure that children are looked after, the aged, okay, livelihoods, then economic issues, making sure that whatever we do, people have decent work. The economic factor is catered for. And then here in Ghana, the institutional issues, the systems that run them. We are making sure that all these 4 things are put together when we are planning anything in our country and at the international level.
The media is expected to write articles and engage in more discussion to help inform the public about the Sustainable Development Goals.
Member of Parliament for Ningo, Pramiti Mensah, has hit hard at Samuel George, who has announced his interest in contesting in the NDC parliamentary primaries in the Ningo Pram constituency.
Well, he is particularly unhappy that Sam George, who is a presidential staffer, is going about peddling lies that the people of Ningo Pram are tired with the incumbent and have endorsed him. Mr. Mensah says Sam George cannot win that seat without his support.
Boy knows how to run, he doesn't know how to hide. And nobody should deceive himself. He cannot win Ningo Pram without my support. This boy has been putting on the Facebook and other places. I've got information that I'm not running. Even after I have tried, he's out there that I'm not running. He said, let him swim in his naivety and ignorance. Politics on the ground is not done in the media.
The last time I spoke with him, he said the people of Ningo Pram say he should thank you for a good job done, but now they want him. And even he said the chief of Ningo Pram. Have you in any way heard, these kind of discussions around?
It's not true. When I heard those things, I said God should have mercy on this boy. God should have mercy on this boy. A hand that has fed you before, you want to bite it, you have to be careful. A hand that has raised you to where you are, and you think that you can mess around. And I am not sad for it, but the parents who knew. I didn't know them for Adam. His sister, when he was going to be engaged by the husband in Nigeria. Yes, let me say it. Here, we did it here. You can come out to tell you. We did it here. We did everything. Everything that I treated him like a son. And it is not, it doesn't lie in his mouth. Who is he in Ningo Pram for them to send him to come? For them to send him to come and say thank you to me. What has he ever done there? Before I went to Ningo Pram, before I became a member of parliament, I was serving the place. 1993, I didn't go to parliament. I went to parliament in 1996. In 93, the work that I did to 95. That's why all the elders from Ningo Pram, they sent people to come and ask me to start. You know what? I don't want to glorify his naivety. He's someone who is naive, someone who is power drunk. I don't know what he thinks, what he wants to do. I don't want to glorify it. That is why I'm being, charitable. I don't want to glorify, but I'm saying that whatever he says is a lie. I've never come across somebody who is not truthful like him.
So why do you think the people of Ningo Pram should retain you?
There is work in progress. The Accra City project, I'm on top of it because of my experience in Accra. Accra City Extension, we call it. I'm on top of it, and it has to be completed. And that is the main, when we're able to do that, open up, set up the structures. When you hit the place now, it's no longer in practice, it's not a district, it's a municipality. The kind of properties and things that we have there. Okay. And this is not for second division players.
Second division players, he says, he sounds like he's quite bitter, you know? Sounds like he's shepherded this gentleman for a while. And yeah.
Let's see how the elections will go, though.
Well, the hand that feeds you, he says, you don't bite that without troubles. Well, meanwhile, he is also describing some George's comments, suggesting that he has stayed too long in power and that he must be replaced as childish.
He uses the local adage that says, in future or which literally means when water stays too long in a bottle, it begins to smell. So I'm tempted to believe that he's trying to say that you've stayed there too long, and so
longer than anybody else.
You want a new person. But is that what it takes? What does it take to be a parliamentarian?
First of all, it doesn't lie in his mouth, the character that he is, to tell me that I'm tired. The thing about water stay in bottle for a long is childish. Because we are talking about politics. Books here, you've seen them, political, you're talking about politics and people's biographies, autobiographies. Ted Kennedy left Congress after 47 solid years in Congress. Those, some 20, some 30, I went to AP, International Parliamentary Union meeting in Vietnam. Those who have done yet to do 20 years were babies who have done 30 years, 40 years. So it means that he doesn't even understand what he's going for. That proverb is childish. It doesn't hold water. Because, I mean, if you want to use bottles and bottles, when cognac stays, is the best when it stays very long in the bottle. Good whiskey stays long. Good wine, and those who, if you want to use bottles.
Counter. All right.
Roland, let's go on.
All right, so we have to move on to the subject of education, because the Conference of the Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, they are known by the acronym CHALS, they are accusing government of crippling secondary education in Ghana, in especially the 3 northern regions.
Well, newly elected president of the association, Cecilia Kofi, says government's failure to pay feeding grants to senior high schools in these 3 regions is making it difficult for the schools to function properly, with a number of students even dropping out of school. She also asked that a number of school heads are having to bear the brunt of shame and embarrassment due to their inability to pay their debtors.
Our clients, the adolescent boys and girls, do not care whether payments have been made or not. And at the least discomfort, they take to the streets and destroy lives and property. In fact, some latest schools have lost their have been made, and still others have had their properties and homes vandalized. In some cases, the academic has been disrupted, as I said earlier. The late release of school fees also has become an annual ritual. Whenever fees were released late, parents were unable to budget for their work. Consequently, the payment of the fees is negatively affected. We therefore want to suggest that arrangement for school fees should begin as early as January of every year.
Well, we conclude by going back to our earlier story on Anas Harimia Anas's documentary. Last night on Joy News Prime, Major Olaye had a chat with Elton Burbwe, who was our reporter on the ground.
So it's the names that we know have been associated. We're not saying that they're guilty. We can't pronounce guilt on anybody at this point in time. But the names that we have of the Superior Court Justices, Justice Ajet Nassam, Justice Paul Derry, Justice Charles Quist, Justice Essel Mensah, Justice Mustafa Habib Logo, Justice Ernest Obimpe, Justice Yao Ansu Jiabo, Justice Eyisi Ado, Justice Mohammed Idrisu, Justice Flex Yao Bedu, Justice Kwame Ohene Essel, and Justice Ivy Hayward Mills. So these are the names that we know have been indicted or have been mentioned in the petition that was sent to the Chief Justice. So what about those judges those who are not judges but still implicated in this?
We are hearing about several names, and the number is running to over 50. Now, these are court officials, and they have also been asked to pick their letters tomorrow and respond within 48 hours. And then the normal investigation process will be conducted. But what I do know is that during the Judicial Council meeting, which was held behind closed doors, a lot of issues came out, a lot of proposals were considered. But at the end of the day, Anas has the ultimate responsibility to show the video or not. What I was told by my source within the Judicial Council was that some members prevailed on the Chief Justice the need for her to talk to Anas, for him to postpone the premiering of this particular video to allow the internal process within the judicial service to work, to punish these individuals, and then report to the public actions taken against the judges who may have been found culpable of the allegations cited against them. This was stepped down. Also, there was suggestion that perhaps somebody should go to court and then seek a court injunction to stop Anas from premiering this particular video. That is an option left to somebody to take. We don't know yet.
Where is this suggestion coming from?
All these issues happened when the Judicial Council met earlier today to deliberate on this particular issues that we have been told.
Would you know if the suggestion came from a member on the Judicial?
A member on the council. And as a matter of fact, even the Judicial Council considered resignation letter tendered in by some of the judges at the Superior Court. And I'm told that the resignation letters were not accepted because already they've been served notice of impending investigation into their conduct, and they have within 48 hours to respond. So until they are through with their investigation, their resignation letters will not be accepted. So that has also been put aside. So these are issues going forward that in the next few days to come, we are likely to hear what the Judicial Council is going to take action on.
I'm curious, now these people who have been named, who are not judges, but are still linked to this whole thing, what are they supposed to have done?
These are court clerks. Obviously, if you want to get to a judge, judges, they have their secretaries, they have their clerks, they have people who write the statements that they make in the courtroom for them. These are court clerks. They have a very good relationship with the judges because they work with them in their chambers. So what I was told is that usually when a litigant wants to influence the decision of the judge, they usually use the court clerks as first point before they get to these judges. And these are people who are scattered across the country, and they've been asked to pick their letters tomorrow, and then investigation will be conducted into the role they may have played in this whole expose.
This is a big scandal, very, very big one.
Well, as it's unfolding, we'll also try as much as possible on this very channel to give you a lot more update as to what the state of the current investigation is.
Sure.
And what also correspondent could give you on the various subjects.
Well, after this, we will be going to the various news portals. We'll be doing the newspaper review as well as the online portal review of what the big stories are and how you can get them. Stay with us.